Well, the platform war is over. We're going to be talking about Zillow, Rocket, and Compass and what all that means to the typical agent. All really, really important stuff. We're going to be getting to that in just a minute, but not before we let the mob in. Here we go. Okay, welcoming our folks here. Okay, Dirk just popped right on. That's good. Welcome, Jonathan. Good to see you. Jonathan's doing a very important ride, which I'm hoping to get him to comment on in a little bit.
Edmund, thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Always happy to support a good cause. Got all these autopilots popping in, and we've got all sorts of guests, all kinds of good stuff. Going to be talking about the platform war, the stuff that effectively we have lost, but there is life after death, what we're going to be able to do to be able to build ourselves up and get some stuff out there. You're probably hearing a little funniness in my voice, at least in my head. I'm feeling it a little funny. I do have a cold, so have a heart. That's what I have to say. Julie, good morning. Very nice of you to put the message out there. Good morning to everybody here. And Eitan is joining us as well from somewhere in Portugal. Eitan, where are you? In Lisbon or in the countryside? He's in some being held down under
Countryside.
in the countryside. Well, welcome, Eitan.
Taurus Novas.
Okay. And unfortunately dealing with an insurance event. So yes, insurance events do happen in Portugal as well. So why did I bring this up? Why are we having this actual topic? There's a few reasons why we're putting it on. I think it's all important for all of us to know. I don't want to be the proverbial ostrich with our head in the sand, not being aware of the changes that are here. Um, and the stuff I'm going to say might sound somewhat harsh about some of these companies. And if you belong to some of these companies, I'm not poking it at you, I'm poking it at the actual system. So understand that, but I've never been shy about my feelings. And that's both a good thing and a bad thing, I suppose, but fuck it. Uh, we're going to do what we're going to do. Um, a few years ago, I had a listing in in a community called Broken Sound. Broken Sound is right next to my community in Boca Raton, Florida. Lovely country club community. The house was a dump, a shithole, a horrible thing. It was, a tear down wasn't enough for this thing. I mean, it was a horrible, horrible property. That's why it showed up on the MLS as a $400,000 property amongst all these other properties that were 1.5, 2 million, 2.5, $3 million. I mean, all these different things. So my this home, like myself, is in the zip code 33496. For those of you who have advertised on Zillow, you know that you are trying to dominate certain zip codes. If you understand what I'm saying, nod wildly. Okay, yes, 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 I understand. Good. So what happened here? Some woman decided to invest heavily in this Zillow advertising, and she called me up complaining. And I said, "Well, what's the problem?" She said, "Well, your listing is right where I'm advertising, and I get all these calls from buyers who seem to think that your home is something that is going to be really doable for them when in fact it really is a builder's home." And I said, "Well, yeah, it says it in the description and all of this." She said, "Yeah, but I need you to make the description stronger. I need you to show more of the interior pictures of the home. I need you to do this and do that." And she was telling me all of this about what I need to do on my listing because she's advertising and she didn't like the phone calls that she was getting from the people that were she was advertising to on Zillow. Does anyone find that absolutely nuts? I mean, here she's calling me, telling me that I need to change my listing and change the way I'm presenting it because it didn't represent the actual the price value. And the people that were calling were not the people who would ever buy in a country club. We're not that there's anything wrong with any of the people that we're buying in the country club. Believe me, I sell people in any all walks of life. But the point of this was that she was so upset with me for not making an adjustment on my property, on my thing, that she actually filed a grievance with Zillow about me. And she made it into something that really didn't. I mean, and even Zillow was kind of scratching their head. Well, yeah, that's the property. He's not breaking any rules. So there seems to be some feelings that people have gotten into. They've gone into these Zillows, they've gone into these different platforms. And even though this house was a dump, it was a teardown, it was something she felt that because uh, it's advertised as a four or $500,000 property amongst these multi-million dollar properties, that somehow I needed to change my way on Zillow so that her advertising dollar would go a little bit farther. Nuts. It was a completely, I mean, at least in my mind, it's nuts. Now, if anyone feels as though I'm being unreasonable, please chime in. I wasn't shy then, I won't be shy now. But I'll tell you that that got me really thinking about Zillow as a platform.
So can I ask you?
Please go ahead, Eitan. No trick questions
Can I
today,
ask
if you
you a
don't mind.
question?
I'm a little tired, but go ahead.
So she was advertising on Zillow, and your property was part
She
of her
she
offering.
she was spending,
So
I guess
Zillow was sending her.
she was spending, according to her, $4,000 a month on zip code 33496. When people are looking, sometimes the people that look in Zillow are trying to find a bargain. They saw all these 1.5 to $4 million, $3 million, whatever it was, properties at the time. And she decided to take it upon herself because every single phone call she was getting was about my property. They kept forwarding all this thing. To me, that was a platform issue with Zillow. I didn't tell her to advertise there. Frankly, I wouldn't have wanted it to be advertised there. So that was the point, that when we look into this, I realized at that point, this is several years ago, this is a very, very powerful tool. And this is something that's going to have massive impact on all of us when it comes to the properties. Again, if you're advertising on Zillow and you're making money, that's great. But I want you to stop and think through a couple of things about that. If you're with Compass, that's great. I think it's a great company. I think people are making money with Compass. That's fantastic. But what's gone on right now is that we're seeing 80 to 90% of the leads that are actually owned by these particular companies. We've seen and this is a playbook that's gone on before, guys. We've seen in finance that once upon a time there were lots of different independent financial advisors. Today, you very rarely hear, at least the common person, going into anything other than a bank, Bank of America and Merrill Lynch, um, whether it's Chase and JP Morgan. That's how all of this stuff is actually consolidated. And I believe that same playbook is happening in real estate. So, what does that actually mean to you? What's been going on with all that? I want to be able to ask just a few of you certain questions here and try and pick this up. Who here uses showing time? When they, okay, I would imagine many of us actually use showing time. A lot of us don't. Okay, Rich, thank you. Rich, you just kind of popped up there. That's kind of fun. Lavette, thank you for raising your hand. You know, if showing time was now a feeder of information into an entity that actually got the information about your potential clients and your potential people, would that bother you? What, Dirk, you got to unmute.
Well, I say it's owned by Zillow, is it not?
It is owned by Zillow. And it is exactly that. The data is not yours. The data is not, people say, but Ed, it's going from B to B. It's going from broker um, to other brokers. That's not necessarily so. Because from what I understand, here's the next step and the next iteration, at least in the sub $1 million market, that you're going to have a situation where people are going to be able to look at a property on something on Zillow or a platform like Zillow, depending upon how it evolves. They're going to say, great, I want to go to 1234 Main Street. They'll push a button, something akin to Zillow, to Uber, can pick them up, take them over there, unlock the door for them, and then have some type of canned explanation and get paid a little bit more than what a Zillow driver would have been paid. And the balance of the commission gets handled by a corporation. Now, what I just described is not yet reality, but we're getting close. We're getting close. If there's something that I could take from that I would like you to take from this meeting, I'd like you to take that you need to truly own your platform. This is much less so in the luxury market space. Samantha, I see you're here. She's a darling in Palm Beach, and I came home from New York, and I was happy to see your lovely face on the wall in the airport. You know, she advertises there. So all this stuff is great when you're actually owning the platform and owning your own market share. This is the kind of thinking that I want to actually put into this. How many of you are actually advertising right now? And let's talk about where. Jonathan, are you advertising right now? And Jonathan, when you unmute, please tell everyone who you are and where you are.
I'm Jonathan Migdal. I am in the Metro West Boston area.
Okay.
Uh, we don't, we do not really advertise. We do a lot on social. We do a lot of networking. Again, our market is we don't survive on leads, anonymous leads per se. All of our business comes from referrals, either personal referrals or other broker referrals from around our network. Our market is we don't use showing time. We don't leave lock boxes, but our properties are generally, north of $1.5 million. So
Okay. What's your CRM?
follow up, boss.
Who owns Follow Up Boss?
I know.
Okay.
So
I'm not, and I'm not saying to
I
abandon
know,
it. I'm
and
not,
I
I'm,
know, and in follow up, boss, if I think it's follow up, boss. If you don't enter information on a regular basis, at some point in time, you no longer own the information. It's a friggin' nightmare.
read the fine print. Again, for legal reasons, I'm not going to throw a cow at any particular company. I'm just trying to speak the truth here. And
We're
I'm trying
thinking
to
of
get,
leaving, Edmund. We have seriously considered dropping follow up, boss, because of this.
yeah. And I think a lot of people have. And I'm not saying that you should. I'm saying that you need to be aware of it. That's important. Greg, please unmute yourself and introduce yourself.
Greg Coggins from Charleston, South Carolina.
Great.
Um, I just wanted to say I also am moving away from any service provided CRM, given that Claude is phenomenal at developing my own CRM.
Sure. Okay.
Something to look at.
Now something you probably would now, Greg, you ready for me to shock you?
No, I think you're going to kill me, is
I'm
what
not
you're
going
going
to
to
shock
do.
you. Okay, this is a good one. Hold on. Buckle your seatbelt. You're going to like it. Okay. I have similar fears for AI. I have similar fears that right now we've got a platform war going on right now with ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Grok. Right now we're enjoying all of this. And hey, everyone knows I wrote the book Prompt to Close, available now for 19.95 on Amazon. But all of you, and you got your copy right there. Greg, hold that back up again just so the newcomers could see that. Okay, great.
Let me take
Um,
my sticky off of it.
But I think the nature of business is to make as much as they possibly can. I don't think, I'm a capitalist. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that you need to be a capitalist as well. And you need to think as strategically as possible. So if again, anything that you could take away from this meeting is just to be aware of the fact that people are battling for attention. That is the new battleground. That right now, I think the war has largely been settled, at least for now, between these three companies, Zillow, Rocket, and Compass. Even the MLS. Now, I have someone here who said to me, and I think all of us have this. I bet Greg and Brenda in Miami. I bet you guys get this all the time. Well, if I could get X amount of dollars for my place, I will sell. Anybody ever hear that? If I get, okay, people mistakenly call that a pocket listing. Technically, a pocket listing is when you actually have a signed contract to make it a pocket listing, but you could call it whatever you want. Let's call it a mamushka. I don't care what it's called. So you got this mamushka and you're ready to actually sell this thing. The guy says, "Oh yeah, I don't mind if you actually advertise it. I just don't want to be on the MLS." Oh, hold on now. The MLS or the Realtors Association have our hands tied because of clear compliance. Everyone's followed that as well, right? So, we've got to start to think about strategy and structure about how to get through all of this. And I want this to be a group discussion. That's the direction that I'd like to go in. Who wants to chime in on some of the ways that they're actually marketing, or maybe Dirk, if you could unmute again for just a second. I've got a question for you. First of all, Dirk, just it's Dirk in Denver. You could just explain who you are and what you're obviously in Denver.
Yeah, Dirk in Denver. Make it easy on you.
Yeah. So how many pocket listings have you been dealing with? I mean, right now I know that largely your business, you own 50 units and you own other businesses as well. How often does the off-market property deals come up with you?
I would say fewer and fewer lately. Earlier in my career, I probably had a lot more opportunity at it. But the clear cooperation has definitely affected it. Um, I would say so. Now it's more between inner office employees more than going out and hunting for something in the market.
Okay. So and do you advertise?
No, not anymore.
Not anymore. What did you advertise on when you did?
I was on Zillow for quite some time. Did a lot of Google paid per click. Um, and then I was a Redfin partner agent for a short while as well.
Can you share with us what you paid on Zillow?
We varied, but I think we were around 12 to 1400 a month.
Okay, so it was negligible.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. And the results obviously weren't there, otherwise you probably would have stayed, I guess.
Yeah, I think long term, we nurtured a lot of relationships over the years. So I think all in all, we came out ahead, but on a yearly basis of just what fell into our lap, we were kind of a break even. Same with Yelp. We were advertising on Yelp for a long time. Getting the contacts was more valuable. And I think if we would really track it now, we'd still be ahead. But at the time, it wasn't that great.
Okay. And at this point, business is just word of mouth. It's like where's stuff coming from now?
Yeah, word of mouth, my just my sphere of influence. The big push has just been getting back in front of a lot of my clients, um, keeping myself top of mind and trying to tap into their spheres as well.
Sure. Okay. How's business?
Just going good right now.
This is booming
our
for you.
market is
We
our
love it.
market is slow up and down, so uh, the issue is not getting listings right now. Now it's just getting things to sell.
Okay. Who else is advertising? Advertising anywhere. I promise I'm not gonna hurt you. I want to hear from you though. Nobody wants to talk. Up, oh, Samantha's kind of got her hand. Samantha, you want to
Well,
unmute? Okay, can you introduce yourself and say who you are and where you are?
I'm Samantha Curry. I am with Douglas Elliman in the Palm Beach office. So I deal mostly with listings on Palm Beach Island and West Palm Beach waterfront. So I do a lot of advertising, but I don't do Zillow advertising. I probably I did a little bit of it, but it's been like over 10 years probably. I do deal with a lot of referrals, but I still, in my market, it's very competitive and all the top players are doing a lot of advertising. It sounds crazy, but our market's very old school. So a lot of print advertising, it's super competitive in the Palm Beach Daily News. It sounds crazy and it's so expensive, but it's like you have to do it to be relevant with the sellers want to see you doing it.
And billboards. I mean,
Yes,
to see you in the airport,
I do have my
I was like,
billboard.
yay, she's coming to my meeting. I hope she speaks. So my wish came true here.
Yes, so thank you for the invite. So I do Luxury Home Magazine. Um, I do social media, some paid ads. I do postcards. So I don't really so I know you're asking like a broad question, but I didn't know if you were just talking about
No,
like
no, I
Zillow,
want you to be
like
broad.
that. Okay. So yeah, social, um, print. I even do some Google digital ads. It just depends on the listing.
Okay.
But I do a lot of marketing.
Is
I'm
there
very jealous of the people that saying they do their business and no marketing. I'm so jealous.
well, again, everyone has their one of the things that I always say here is that you could be as busy as you want to be. Um, And you
Hmm.
could be focused on whatever, you're obviously, I don't know what that ad in the airport costs, but I know it's not cheap.
Yeah,
Um,
it's not.
and I know that it's also a lot of people have that idea because I saw some guy petting a dog. I don't even remember his name. And I saw some other couple holding hands and they're with Compass. And I saw a few different, so
It's
I,
exploded. Every broker in Palm Beach now wants to be on the airport. It's crazy. I don't know, our market's just nuts.
when it comes to that, how do you justify it and how do you judge success? I know I'm taking a bit of a turn here, but we're going to get right back to the topic at hand. I just want to hear from
That
you.
is a problem. It is impossible to really, quantify what I'm getting out of it. I mean, I have a QR code. I've tried a couple different things. I can change, the ad copy and everything, but it is hard to justify. The only way I justify it is I know that as soon as I give it up, one of my competitors will take it. So, but I get a lot of feedback from it. People bring it up all the time. People I know, people I don't know. So it's just staying top of mind, but it is impossible to really track it.
Okay.
Unless you have any ideas, I'm very open.
Well, I do, but is there a rule of thumb between the amount of revenue you bring in and the amount you're spending? And again, please don't tell us the revenue. That's not what I'm trying to get at. I'm just trying to see if there's a ratio.
No, I don't have a rule of thumb.
Okay. Okay. Well, we probably should again talk.
Okay.
Because I
Hey
think
Ed,
who's that? Where did I hear the
it's
voice?
Rich here.
Rich, where are you?
I'm right over here from
Yeah,
Villanova,
tell
Pennsylvania.
I know you're
From
right here.
Villanova, Pennsylvania,
Thank
outside
you. Go ahead,
Philadelphia.
Rich, please.
You know, that advertising question has been one that I've dealt with my entire life, and I can only say there was a Philadelphian who said, half the money I spend in advertising is wasted.
Yes.
I just can't determine which half.
You know who said that?
Wanamaker.
Actually, I
Yeah.
think it was David Ogilvy.
Oh, yeah, I'd have to look it up. I
Okay.
think it was John Wan from Philadelphia. We say John Wanamaker. You're from New York, so
Okay. No, we'll look it up.
I'm
Yeah.
going to AI,
I will gladly admit I'm wrong if I'm wrong. I know the saying though.
as will I.
Yeah. So let's talk about the dependency here. Does everyone have the workbook? Because Eitan's here and he can send off the workbook to everyone. Does anyone not have the workbook?
No, I don't have the
Okay.
workbook.
Oh, Samantha, you didn't get the workbook.
I don't know. And I'm like,
Eitan,
I
you want
have
to put
FOMO. I want the workbook.
you want to put that
It's
into
right in
the
the chat. I just put it.
It's in the chat.
it's
Okay.
in the
It's in
chat.
the
All you have
chat.
to do is
I didn't
download
know
it
about the
here.
workbook. I have the book. Why don't I
Oh,
know
we
about
have
the
all kinds of
workbook?
little goodies here. It's fabulous. You're just gonna love it. This is just bite-sized morsels of information. Everybody loves it here. It's like a tapas bar. Um, okay, so we've got in there on page 3 your platform dependency. And I'm not going to go, I just want to bring your awareness to it. I'm not going to go through it here because I'll go through it quickly here, but I want you after the meeting here to run your own analysis. And if you're bold enough to send me the results, we could then talk about it offline. More than 30% of my leads come from Zillow, Realtor.com, or brokerage provided resources. You're supposed to score that. Basically, before we dive into the solutions, let's diagnose your current vulnerability. Rate each statement on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 strongly disagree, and 5 strongly agree. So these are all the questions. I don't own my client list or email numbers outside of my CRM. Uh, Jonathan, I don't know how you would name that. Jonathan, in the very least, for goodness sakes, back up. Back up your data.
We
I,
do that.
okay, good. All of you, I'm going to scream that from the rooftops. No, even if I make my own CRM, back up the bloody data because you never know what's going to happen. My transaction
Edmund, just
man,
as an aside, Edmund, I would love at some point some guidance or maybe a session on how we can use Claude to set up a CRM and dump follow-up boss.
sure. Well, and again, I'd love to do it too. Now my problem is the technology is moving so fast. I keep updating my own way. There's now something called Claude Cowork, which I've integrated between another. Yes, we will talk. And for those of you who want to nerd out with me, I always say at least once a month I have a very higher level nerd fest where we discuss these things, and it's a bitch and disco time. You got to come. Um, Next, my transaction management system is provided by my brokerage. You put a score on that. I spend more than $1,000 a month on lead generation platforms. Depending upon the market, that might be like pittance. You might say it's tens of thousands of dollars. I don't know. Um, my website brokerage, my website brokerage, sorry, keep getting phone calls here. My website brokerage template is IDX focused site. I don't have content strategies beyond my MLS listings. More than 50% of my business is under $1 million. Guys, I want to stress, you hear me say this in every one of my meetings. I know I've got one person in here who does over 100 transactions a year of $500,000 or less. And that's great. That's a great business. You're making a great living. Just know that you're much more vulnerable than the people in here who do well over $1 million per transaction. It doesn't mean to stop. It doesn't mean that the sky's falling right now. It means that, I don't want to keep our heads in the sand with this stuff. The business is changing and you need to know about it. Um, the next one, I use three separate platforms for lead generation, CRM, and transaction coordination. I don't have a private inventory pocket listing strategy. And lastly, my business would suffer significantly if Zillow or any of these platforms doubled their lead prices tomorrow. So that's just one little quiz, and then it gives you four quadrants about how much in danger you are. Yes, AI helped me create that. I did it myself. I found it to be a pretty interesting exercise. In any case, whenever you're able to reflect on your leads and where things are coming from, you're going to wind up doing much, much better, I believe. There's also a platform audit stack to be able to take a look at what's going on within your platform. Today, we could build out, and you guys will have heard this from me before, um, you could truly replace people. Not that humans are replaceable as individuals and personalities and the way God made us, but the work can be. A couple years ago, as for those of you who've been with me for a while, you know my virtual assistant, who I was very fond of. I was very fond of him, of his husband. He worked for me for many, many years. He was 38. He suddenly died. Um, and it left me, even to this day, kind of scratching my head because it was taken for granted that the guy was with me for 6 or 7 years, where I just gave him the work and he just got it done. We had to create a new system. Largely, his death did create a very interesting uh, need to really depend on something that wasn't human. I really leaned in more on AI. And guess what? Overwhelmingly, overwhelmingly, the work that I had him do was replicated by AI. So I want all of you to stop and think through the workflow that you do on a day-to-day basis. And again, not saying to fire the assistant, that's the last thing that's actually in my mind. Not saying to do all that. What I am saying is that you need to get yourselves geared up with the latest tools that are going on. Do you have a automated attendant at this point? It doesn't cost a lot of money. We could set it up for you. It's not a terribly big deal. And it works, and it works really well. If you go to my website, bogan.ai, the number's on the upper right-hand side. Well, hold on. Where is this thing? You know what? In fact, I'm going to give this to you now, and you can. Okay, 424-587-0840. I'm going to put that into the chat. Give it a call, or better yet, send it a text. See what happens. It's pretty cool. Is it perfect? No, it's evolving. All of this stuff is evolving, but it's evolving quick, and it's good enough. That's what I'm saying right now. There's another motivational coach out there who says done is better than perfect. This really is the case here. People are now trained. My mom, rest your soul, used to hate it when the automated attendant came on. Today, people have been trained to go through these calling trees. But what's better is I've now programmed these things with a knowledge base of who I am. You could get into a conversation with them. It'll tell you all about my book. It will tell you about my speaking. It could tell you about my team and who's on it. It is something that absolutely needs to be maintained. We're starting now to build a bridge between the MLS and the auto attendant. So it will know the properties that we have listed and be able to, the next iteration of this, it's not ready yet, but it will be, where we could have, and for those who are coming on late, I've got a terrible cold, so I'm sorry for the coughs. So we're going to be able to automate and send properties right out to people. So if you don't have these tools at this point, uh, how much worse off are you going to be? I mean, that's really the type of thing. And I think it's now that this is all in its infancy that you really should start taking advantage of all this. What are the tools are you using right now when it comes to managing your business? What other software or AI or non-AI? None of you are using anything. Come on, I've got a coughing fit here. Give somebody a break. Okay, Rich.
My
Okay,
firm, we
who's
have,
that?
hi, this is Lavette.
Lavette, thank God you're here. Tell us. Tell,
So
tell everyone who you are.
my name is Lavette Bellman. I'm in Southampton Roads, Virginia. And the company that I'm with has Bold Trail. Uh, I don't really like it, so I don't really use it.
What is it?
Bold, it used to be KV Core, and now
Okay.
it's Bold Trail. I think it's Bold Trails, what it's called now.
Okay.
And it just I don't know, it's so much, it's so overwhelming, you know. So there are things that I do use, like I love the text blasting feature that I use for investors or like my neighborhood because I'm in my civic league and I do a lot with that. So I use the text blast for that. But other than that, I just kind of like plug my contacts in there and really do much with it, to be honest.
Okay. What? Okay. Okay, good. So somebody just called it. That's good. I could see my phone's popping up here. I hope you guys test it and actually use this thing. I'll put it into this thing again. And again, point out the flaws, as you're calling this. Sorry, Lavette. Go on. You were saying that it's cumbersome?
Yeah, like I said, it's a lot. There are things I like about it, but it's so overwhelming. And then the other thing for me, I don't know about anybody else that uses it. It just runs really slow. Like every time I try to find a contact, it just it's slow pulling things up. So I get frustrated and I don't really use it at all, mainly because of that.
Okay.
And I've had the Geek Squad look at my laptop, so we don't know. We can't figure it out.
Yeah. I didn't know the KV Core switch, but that's something that's also owned by a large platform. Again, one of the big takeaways, back up your data. That's the one thing that I could just say over and over and over again. Okay, page 6 on the workbook. AI implementation prompts. I love this. Um, it feels pretty obvious when you actually look at it, but you could have a tech stack putting in all of your platforms and monthly costs and asking the question for each platform, tell me what's the switching cost if I left today? It gives a full detail of what you should actually do to be able to get a larger answer out of this. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just coughing too much here. Aton, save me. What do I do? Okay. Um,
Let's go to a commercial.
yeah, we got time for a quick commercial break. No, no commercials. We're live. We're gonna go through this. Okay. Is that a platform owned by a larger real estate conglomerate? That's the thing. If you're not sure about it, ask AI. And you could ask the AI, what do you think my vulnerability is? I think Ed is not telling me the truth here. Is this true? Find out for yourself. You don't need to. I mean, what frustrates me so when we see so much fake news out there today, just as an aside, the truth is so easily accepted. You can so easily find things out today. When I see these memes about what politicians said what or who said something, I oftentimes just copy it, put it into the AI, and say, is this true? Where is it quoted? And then I'll put it on multiple platforms because we know the AIs have their biases as well. The AIs might have that, but if you look in the book, one of the things that I said was AI stacking. You use one AI to compare the results of another AI. You're then going to be able to find out specifically what the answer is. Don't take things at face value anymore. You don't have to. Okay? I mean, you really, really don't. Let's go through this. Prompt 2, revenue segmentations by platform dependency. I want to calculate how much of my revenue is tied to the platforms I don't control. My revenue breakdown, total GCI last 12 months, you put in the amount. You put in the amount from whatever platform that you have. In the case of any of you that are advertising online, like Zillow or Realtor.com, if you're like Samantha, advertising in the airport or in magazines or whatever it is, you could put that in as well. Your past client referrals. It's a great exercise anyway. You know what I'm saying? It's a great exercise to know where all these people are coming from. Because at the end of the day, that's what it is. Despite all the doom and gloom about the loss of the platform war, and Eitan and I were discussing this when we were making this topic, the good news is that real estate really still is truly localized. Most of you have people that will live and die in an area of a radius of 40 miles. Overwhelmingly, that's what, most of us have in all this. Now, Palm Beach might be a little bit different because you got people flying in from all the world and it's a different animal. There might be some stuff, but still, for the most part, a lot of the stuff is happening on a hyper local level. I live in St. Andrews Country Club. My home is on Foxborough Lane, abutting a golf course facing east. The street on the other side of Foxborough Lane, the house is facing west. It also happens to abut the Florida Turnpike. The difference in price point between those two houses, identical houses, is astronomical. That's something that the platforms still haven't learned. They might, but that's something that local knowledge is really, really important. I once showed some people property, very expensive property in Delray Beach. Um, the wife really loved a a particular home. The husband was not so sure. I said, "Oh yes, and best of all, you're right next to a sober house. Isn't that wonderful?" Oh, not even chuckle, not even look. Okay, but the fact is, Delray Beach is the largest per capita drug rehab facilities in the country. God bless these people. They're trying to get themselves better. I'm not thinking that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying I don't necessarily want to buy a house right next to it. How do you like that? Am I a bad person? My customers don't think that either. Now, for those of you who want to talk about protected classes or anything like that, okay, knock yourselves out. I'm saying that this is something a realtor could bring to the table, and you're not leaning in on it. You're not leaning in on your hyper local knowledge. You're not leaning in on the stuff that really makes the true distinction between you and an algorithm. And I think you need to take that from the meeting. Let's go on with a couple more of these things here. Okay. The last one that there's a few others in here, but the one that I want to shine a light on is the cost benefit analysis for platform consolidation. So to actually think about all the costs of all your platforms, I'm being bitten to death by a duck. What do I mean by that? A duck is a fairly harmless animal, at least to humans. But every time it's Grok, let me get that $20 a month. Quack. Oh, ChatGPT, we got to get the good version of that. Quack. Claude, I got to get the better version. Quack. All these little, I'm being bitten to death by a duck with all this stuff. Consolidate, figure out where all this stuff is at. And I'm telling you, it's hard right now because it's a constant moving target. People say to me, what is the best AI? At this very moment, in my opinion, Claude. That could change tomorrow. That could change tomorrow. So what do? I spend $1,000 a month on all this stuff, which, effectively is nothing. If you've got a successful business, there's really no money, but it is pissing money away if you're not doing it right. So I want everyone to do this. Enter the luxury defense system. Luxury real estate is largely protected, maybe not entirely, but much more so than the whims of the lower end market. Now, again, if you're in an area where there isn't the highest end property, that's just going to emphasize the need for more concierge level service in the first place. Um, right now, my team is not on here because we're over at two different homes, one at a home inspection, at a re-inspection, making sure that this thing gets done right when the first home inspector didn't get it done right, and filling out reports. Another one is in there with some type of the homeowner is gone, and they're making sure that everything gets fixed in some type of leak, not a bad leak. Okay, people like that. People want that kind of, I mean, that's something that they're not going to get out of the platforms. So I'm not saying that you're a super, but we're kind of part lawyer, part accountant, part super. When you're a realtor, you're kind of all those things. If you're set up to kind of service people in that way, you're going to reap a greater benefit. And it's the fastest way to get referrals. You screw it up, it's the fastest way to get a shit reputation. So I want all of you to stop and think that through. Let me just see where else was in here. Hey, Tom, what were some of the other points that I wanted to bring out here? Transaction coordination. This should really work in if you have a full-time transaction coordinator, um, train them on Claude. You could talk to me after about how. If you have a company doing your transaction coordination, find out what platforms they're actually using. These are the most vulnerable people. I mean, this is something, talk about something that was truly built for AI. This is something that is just a repeatable process over and over and over again with very little deviation. Oh, but Ed, sometimes there's an inspection, sometimes yeah, I get it. But it's a module thing that could fit in to a system where if you're paying a lot of money for transaction coordination, they better damn well do it right. And they better be on the latest platforms today that can integrate with your platform. So I really want you to stop and think that through. Transaction coordination is huge. And you're going to start hearing more and more news about that because there's only so many more things for the companies to consolidate. They're buying the mortgage brokerages, they're buying the title companies. Certainly, Compass is now rolled up into this 350,000 person thing. I mean, this giant company now. And again, nothing wrong with it. There's a lot of people that are making tons and tons of money within this. But for the same people that were in finance years ago, those commissions got squeezed. The financial advisors of the 70s and 80s made a lot more money than they do today. And it's not just because the markets are that much different. In fact, the market kind of went skyrocketing, but by percent, they were making a lot more money. When the platform actually changes and it's leading to a point where you do not have a negotiation power, it's going to be that, I mean, come on, every company is obligated to give itself the greatest profit. We can love each other as much as we want. I love my broker. I love my brokerage. You know, if they've got the opportunity to make more money, they're going to do it. And it's nothing evil. If you're a capitalist like me, you're going to believe that's the case. I want you to be your own capitalist. And I want you to think through just how this is going to work out. Um, another thing, personal concierge network. Get yourself, one of the things that I do, and I'm doing it now. We didn't do it on the web this year because we had a little bit of a snafu with it, but I'm speaking to people that I'm closest with saying, if your kids need a summer internship, call me. And I've been able to make certain introductions to them. I've got two daughters, 20, almost 26 and almost 21. Fabulous kids. If you help them, it's better than helping me. That's just the nature of having kids. If you do something that's right for them, feel free to take a kidney. I think that it's just the greatest thing in the world. If you're going to help them, so come on, we're getting back to the basics here. This is the least techie thing I could say. Um, I said estate service Rolodex. That sounds so old school. For those of you who are too young, a Rolodex was this thing that you used to switch that is now called a database, or in John's case, follow-up boss. Um, but you need to curate the best-in-class contractors, interior designers, landscapers, and property managers. Also, has your CPA given you a lead lately? Is the CPA doing your taxes? Then damn it, they should. They should. They know everything right when it's about to happen. If they haven't helped you at all, it's time to have lunch. Hey, Marty, or in my case, Frank. Frank's a good guy. I like Frank. Frank certainly tried to help quite a bit. There's another one that I've got Eitan and I have for our business, and he's been fantastic, and he's always trying to make introductions. In fact, he introduced a great deal Samantha for me in Palm Beach. I forgot it was a couple years ago. We did this in a condo there. Now, of course, I'm having a senior moment, but it was a $3.5 million sale at the time. Very nice. He was the executor of the estate, thought of me, made the introduction. Fantastic. So, the network still happens. Lifestyle coordination. And I won't be prospecting because I'm on vacation. I'm like, are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind? That's the best time. Go first class all the way. My Uncle Ernie, who's not been well, wonderful man, bless him, fabulous guy. He's 95 now. He ran into this great insurance salesman. The insurance guy was known, unfortunately, in this world for getting Monica Lewinsky her internship at the White House. That's unfortunate because he happens to be a hell of a guy and but unfortunately, all the media kind of fell on this guy and everybody saw him just as that. But he was that kind of person that he helped people's kids get jobs. And, that was the kind of lifestyle. It sort of backfired with the Monica Lewinsky thing. But my uncle was, in the airport in Miami. He runs into him. He said, "What are you doing here?" He said, "Oh, I'm going from New York to LA." He said, "There's a direct flight from New York to LA." He goes, "Yeah, but I get double the opportunity to sit next to somebody." He flies first class all the way. He's got flying to Miami, from Miami to LA, LA to Miami, Miami to New York, four different flights, four different opportunities to network. That's how this guy lived his networking. And he got business all the time. He just incorporated it into his lifestyle. So stop and think about this. The most successful people that you see in this business are peers with their clients. Samantha, I bet you, is a peer with a client. I can imagine that you're probably having lunch with people all the time. You're getting to know people on a personal level. People like that. They want that. They don't want necessarily the master-servant relationship. Doesn't mean that you have an excuse not to be there and work for them and work your ass off, which I'm sure all of you do. But try and look at it less so of being a servant and more so of being a consigliere, of being someone that's really in there and working in that manner. These are the things that are going to fortify you um, against platform eruption. Um, we also have system prompts for private inventory. The private inventory is going to be a big thing. I really don't know what the Realtors Association is going to do about this clear compliance thing because I really feel, Compass has their thing. The MLS doesn't let me do the private listings. I think in Seattle, I got to look this up, but Seattle just it made it illegal to have uh, something that's a personal, a private listing that they made something where it's not going to be allowed to have these things without a public broadcast of that particular property. Again, I'm going to get the answer for you and have it on the website because I think it's important. But we're really getting down to we're losing more and more tools to make ourselves as powerful as we can. And we got to figure out just what that is. If you guys have ideas, please, that's the idea. It's a mastermind here. We're trying to come up with the best tools to be able to do all that. But again, look through these prompts. Again, we put a lot of time into it. Um, Also, editorial authority and concierge. One of the things that I do all the time, I've shown this to you before, I created St. Andrew's Members. It's an Instagram account for the adult children as well as the adults that live at St. Andrews Country Club. 360 people on it. Now, social media influencer would look at that and say that's nothing, but it's not. These are 360 people that matter. These are the people that get my weekly email that goes out to them. These are the people that see the Instagram. These are the people that get my mailer. These are the people that see me in the gym. And that's why when I walk into the clubhouse, I could say for sure that everyone is going to know who I am. Everyone says, God, Ed, you're like the mayor. I am famous in this 732 person community. I pay a lot of money and put a lot of time into being that famous person. And last point, Coke and Pepsi, you've heard me say this before. I asked you to name a cola, overwhelmingly, most of you would say Coca-Cola. Then you'd probably say Pepsi Cola. Most of you would struggle to come up with a third cola. Think about it. Does anyone have a third cola? The answer is RC. Okay, Greg. Greg, of course, has all the answers here. I knew that. After that, it might be Shasta. Does anyone know another cola? And by the way, Sprite is not a cola. Dr. Pepper's not a cola. Does anyone else know a cola besides those four colas? Okay, Greg.
Cheer wine. Ever heard of it?
No.
Yeah.
Cheer, like Cheers, but
Mhm.
cheer wine. It's a
Okay. Well,
cola.
Samantha knows it, so it's
Yeah.
that's good.
How about
Okay.
tab?
Cot,
For tab?
C-O-T-T.
What?
Cot, C-O-T-T.
Is that what you drink?
No, but I remember from my childhood.
What
Okay.
about tab? T-A-B.
Tab
Oh,
is a brand that's no
like
longer in
Coca-Cola.
existence,
Dang
but
it.
it also tasted like crap. I want to remind everyone how horrible Tab was.
I don't even
Okay.
know if I ever
That's
drank
why
it.
there's Diet Coke.
Yeah, Diet Coke was like that was the Tab killer.
Mm.
Um, but the point is this. There's Coke and there's Pepsi, and then there's a bunch of other things. Right now, all of us are battling to be Coke or Pepsi within our territory. What I'm coaching my clients to do is to become Snapple, is to become something outside of the box. If you're not going to be able to smash through and get that, then we need to come up with a completely different brand and rewrite the playbook on what is the ultimate brand within the community. People come into my community now, they're thinking of just a couple of different realtors. People go to Palm Beach. That's why Samantha has so much competition. And that's why and she doesn't even know if it works, but she has to pay it because God forbid something's going to happen. And she's right. That's Zillow's whole strategy. When I advertised on it, okay, you could back off, but if you do, we're going to fill it in with somebody else. I mean, it really does hold something over your head. Very, very difficult to live that way. But we all have to do what we have to do with. Okay, 9:50. At this time, I like to get to wants, needs, and brags. Now's the time in the meeting where you get to talk about what you want, what you need, and what you'd like to brag about. Sorry for the coughing session in the middle of this meeting. What I really want is to just get better sooner. I think I'm going to get through this in the next few days, and I'm grateful that all of you bared with my lack of great performance today. But I'm glad that all of you came. I'm also bragging about the fact that I'm going to be off to LA to see my daughter, my oldest. I can't wait. And for those of you who are in Los Angeles, I keep saying this on May 29th, I'm having lunch with a bunch of you at Tartine in Santa Monica. So if any of you are in LA and would like to come, I'm hosting a lunch there. I'm going to be seeing a bunch of people. I'm seeing my friend Ivan Estrada, who's a broker with Element out there, and I'm seeing a bunch of other people. I just love traveling, and it's great. I'm also meeting with people after that in Chicago, so there's all sorts of fun stuff going on. What's going on with you? Tell us a win, tell us something fun, tell us a brag, tell us something. Okay, Greg.
I learned a new word today. If I
Oh,
got
wow.
nothing else out of this, I got the word consigliere.
Okay, good.
Never
And
never
you
heard
looked that
that
up?
before. Pardon me?
You never heard it
I did.
before?
Believe it or not, does anybody have one of these?
My God, look at that. What is it? Is that called a book? I've read
I
about them, but I don't
learned
believe they
that from
still.
mob
A
movies.
dictionary.
I guess
It's a
so.
dictionary. But no, I picked up a new coach, and since I picked up that new coach, 1 week, I guess now, I've picked up 3 listings. I don't think it has anything to do with the coach, but nevertheless, I did pick up 3 listings.
Okay, it is all you. You are fantastic, but I will tell you, your coach is just amazing and so very handsome, I've got to say. Um, but that. So hold on, Greg, don't go away for a second. Did you ever see The Godfather?
I did, yeah.
And Consigliere? Okay. I mean, to me, that was like,
That's how I learned it at
of
from
course you
a mob
did.
movie.
Of course you did. Okay.
I
So
must
that
not
was
have
his
paid
brag.
attention.
Levette, what's your, go ahead. Go ahead, Greg, and
I
then
didn't
Levette.
use a dictionary in those days.
Yeah, that's probably, Levette, please.
Oh no, I didn't want anything. I was
No
just trying.
brags?
No brags.
Okay.
Let me see. I did pick up a new listing this week, so yeah, I get a little bit of a brag.
Mazel tov. We love
Got
it.
investors wanting to fight with me over it. It's crazy.
Okay.
But I had an investor actually have an emotional meltdown over what I priced it.
Well, it's okay. Remember, it's their feelings, not yours. We gotta
Right.
gotta gotta fortify ourselves. Who else? Come on, guys. It's an opportunity to promote a listing, talk about a charity you're involved in. Jonathan, you should have a brag.
What you want me to mention what I sent to you?
No, well, you could mention, yeah, if you want to do a fundraiser, I think it's a worthy
Well, first
cause.
of
Go
all,
ahead.
so it's in terms of brags, the spring market up here has been compressed, but the last month has been insane. So we are extraordinarily thankful for that, both on the buy side as well as the list side. Jane and I haven't been as busy in the last month as we've been in like 4 years, so we're pretty thankful.
Isn't that
And
wonderful?
Edmund, thank you again for contributing to my Pan Mass challenge.
No, my pleasure. My pleasure. No, it's a worthy thing. And Jonathan's riding 300 miles. He's been deeply affected by cancer in his family, and it's a great fundraiser. And I would say to all of you, if you want to kick in for a great fundraiser, we've got a very generous group of people here, and that's great. No pressure. If you want, that's fantastic. Who else? Anything else before we
I
wind
have a fun
down?
one.
Oh, who? Julie?
Yeah, I have a fun one.
Go ahead and hold on. Who are you, Julie? Tell everyone who you are and where you are.
I'm in SoCal,
Okay,
and I'm a realtor.
cool.
And I have on Friday a QSR, which is a quick service restaurant,
Okay,
right?
thank
Called
you. I was afraid to ask about the. I'm very acronym illiterate.
Acronyms. Yes,
Yeah.
I forgive my voice. It's early out in SoCal.
Okay.
But at any rate, I have Ono Hawaiian, which I did a pre-development deal on, is having their grand opening on Friday. So we're really super excited. What a sense of accomplishment. So I'm just hunting down the occupancy certs and saw that it got finalized yesterday. And then on April 1st, I'm on an NDA on it, a Bojangles out of state. Same thing, but we'll be closing that escrow, concurrent with the grand opening and occupancy surge. So, two fine restaurants, opening on absolute triple net ground leases.
So you're
All
mostly commercial?
um, I do a tremendous amount of commercial, meaning QSR, industrial, multifamily, and luxury repositioning. And it all is a core about really servicing my clients. So there's a bunch of binding stories that make me particularly effective. Like for those of you who may or may not be familiar with the ranch or Rancho Santa Fe, down in San Diego, California, it's a probably top 5 zip code in the U.S., but I represented the master developer doing ground up infill, and actually was a participant in building a lot of the super high-end luxury coastal homes in San Clemente. And so I really understand that development process, and I've created new technologies around doing pre-development QSR because most of the attorneys, because they're all attorney drafted, you don't whip out your local association, purchase and sale agreement. So I have to negotiate with them. But most of those, the attorneys are they're writing things that just they're copying and pasting from stabilized assets, how they negotiate a stabilized asset. And I've created technologies that actually support closing much earlier in the construction cycle.
Amazing. Okay. Well, thanks for coming.
My pleasure. Thank you for
I'm
having
glad you
me.
made it here, and let's catch up after the meeting. I'd love to talk to you.
Okay.
Good. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, guys. Our next meeting, we're gonna have two next week. Actually, no, that's not true. We're gonna have one next week on Wednesday. And we're going to have a full roster of events for June. And we'll have the topics and all of that laid out very shortly. You will be getting this via email. For the coaching clients, I believe all of you are booked with me now to meet. If you are not, we need to get you on the calendar ASAP. And we definitely need to, again, focus on the goals, focus on what you're doing. For other people who are looking for the AI integration, we got a lot of work going on with that. That's what Eitan and I are doing together. And thank you also very much for coming, and thank you for tolerating my cold. This is just not the normal me, but I do appreciate you coming. Eitan, was that a goodbye or was that a question? That was, I guess, that was something. I don't know what he was doing. Okay.
That was just a wave.
A wave. Okay. Good to see everybody. Thank you so much for coming, and I hope to see you next week for another exciting episode of Edmund's Mastermind. Thanks, guys.
Edward's
Okay,
Mastermind.
take
Thank
care.
you, Ed.
Thank
Thank
you. Bye,
you.
guys.